process, can't you see? With the platform so smooth, keeps the workflow tight. Efficiency and value, that's every single night. Risk profiles, they got 'em, man, it's no joke. North America's the stage and they never choke. Metrics on point, updated without fail. Chameleon carriers, they're on the trail. Don't play with unsafe companies. Don't be that guy. It carry your checks, keeping it safe under the sky. 40 plus filters with the search that can drive. Carry your information in the FMCSA archive. Find your carrier with precision and needs. Location, equipment feeds. They got the keys. FTL shipper leads. They're right there for you. Real-time authorities, what they do. Crazy, breezy, ultimates. The dashboards away. Freedom from low boards. They got it every day. You carry your checks. The architect leading the way.
What is going on, e-carrier check community? You know, Jared, it's Wednesday. We're halfway through the week. I'm wearing my big red shirt here.
I love that.
Old Belichick's coming to town.
Yeah.
That's awesome.
Yeah.
You know, I might have to take that 6-hour drive and see what's going on at that coach's clinic.
Oh, my gosh. Can you imagine? Can you imagine?
You know, I saw Ryan was hitting me up on LinkedIn. He was kind of trying to get my thoughts on this. I'm like, I think this is what we need. You know, sometimes we just need to tune up some way, somehow. You know, can we get Nebraska back to where it used to be?
Oh, I hope.
Yeah. Hey, T. Harris, thanks for being in the office and listening.
Harris.
And thank you for commenting on our shorts. I appreciate the comments on there.
By the way, T. Harris, you comment at like 2 a.m.
Do you sleep?
I don't think they do. I don't think you sleep. He or she, I don't know if it's a guy or a girl. I have no idea. Here's what I do know is that he tries to comment, or I'll ask a question and he can't respond. And I looked on YouTube yesterday. I didn't see anything.
Yeah.
So I don't know.
We've been having some issues with that. I know there's someone else that's been trying to comment, and I looked at some of the comments. I haven't been able to see or what's going on. So we appreciate you guys for commenting. We brokers never sleep.
No, you can't.
Yeah.
You can't. I remember doing like and honestly, even I still have the same mentality.
Oh, hey Marie.
I still have the same mentality. Like honestly, I used to work retail, jewelry, right? And you don't really get lunch.
Yeah.
And so here was a weird habit, by the way. Like I can consume food faster than most people could never dream about.
Okay.
I can just, you got a bowl of noodles? Done. One bite and I'm back on the floor trying to sell some diamonds.
Yeah.
Right? Well, I have the same issue, like with brokering. I just kind of never lost the sleep pattern.
Yeah.
I just transitioned to software. It's fine. It's fine. Oh, he's a guy. Nice to see you. Maria, what's up? It's good to have everybody on today. I'm excited about today. We've had a unique week with helping people utilize our software in a way that really not only just a little bit different, right? Yep. And we're talking supply chain, we're talking logistics, and we're talking like really truly bringing a solution. This wasn't a transactional conversation that we had this week. And I loved every second of it.
Yeah.
Every second of it.
People think of us as just a sourcing platform.
Right.
Scratch that. Solutions.
Oh, man.
We're providing solutions. I mean, I got a handful of ways that this system has helped people in a, just kind of a weird situation.
Yeah.
Right. No carriers are calling in. How do I get quotes?
Yeah.
Trying to find maybe a needle in the haystack. You found one of those earlier this week.
Yeah.
So it's a really nice system to have in your back pocket to use every day, to be honest. I mean, you're going through a crazy situation, how can we do it? You pick up the phone, right? You've been, saying that since day one. You got to pick up the phone and, and just kind of work. Yeah.
So, I think something that was really unique about this week's situation, we're going to show you how we solve this issue, is shout out to Logistics Resource Group, or Redstone Logistics here, by the way, because I had the opportunity to work with probably a couple of the most brilliant minds in logistics, Jim Ritchie, Duncan Hoppa. These guys are truly exceptional when it comes to reworking a supply chain. They reworked, multiple supply chains in their lives. And we had that opportunity this week to help with a situation that happened. And I'll give you some supply chain background here, right? the company that uses e-carrier check, here's what happened.
Yes, Hunter. Yes.
Nebraska Natty in the near future. Honestly, gosh, if we could just get a road win against Indiana tonight. We're favored 1.5, by the way, if anyone's putting cash out there.
A Natty would cure depression in Nebraska.
Oh, are you kidding? We become the next Florida with a Natty. Like, people are like, you're moving to Nebraska, right?
Right.
It just becomes the retirement mecca. Anyway, so back to the supply chain. Here's what happened. We have a client that uses e-carrier check for sourcing all the time, and they don't really live on load boards, but here they've been working with this same client for about 12 years, right? And the client actually changed their product that goes out on a van. And it's product you see at every retail across the country. And they're just displays, right? But now, instead of the display being the size of this table, it's half the table. It's half the truck. Right? And now, instead of it being, 1 day delivery, the receiver, the retail company that's taking all these displays, right, wants it in 2 separate deliveries because it takes up kind of a little bit too much room. Right. And so now we have a logistics issue, a supply chain issue. Mm-hmm. What do we do, right? How do we solve this? And so instead of just going from that shipper to the retailer, now we've got to figure out, well, I've got to do time definite service, but there's additional days involved. I need to find a carrier that either A, can drop a trailer, right? Or I need to find a small little cartage outfit that maybe can do final mile for me, right? And so this week, this was awesome. I loved this. This was really a lot of fun. We took a dozen of the receiver locations, right? And in e-carrier check, we have the ability to look up, the word cartage or the word warehouse, or, find some of those small companies that may have a cross dock that you can do some of these things in.
Right. And when people go in to name their company, man, this sounds familiar. Yeah, it sure does, Chase.
Interesting.
But when people go name their company, they name it the obvious. What's nice is let's go try cartage, right, or let's go try pipe, right?
Right.
I love how people name their companies sometimes.
Yeah.
Kind of makes it easier to find you.
Yeah. This was kind of fun. So when I worked at Nebraska Transport, we had a client that we would ship, or we would do final mile for credit card machines. It's 2 a.m. and you're like, I need $40 to get this bill paid out, right? Those credit card machines, right? The ones that you walk up to at the bars. They're kind of nasty. They're $5 a transaction.
I hate that.
It's okay. My bank pays those back. It's fine.
Must be nice.
But we would always have these truckload carriers come in, and they would pop in and they would just drop off 53 foot of friggin' credit card machines. And we'd have to go do final mile on all this shit, right? Yeah. And it was wild, man. We would go do lift gate, inside delivery. We didn't hook it up. We weren't white gloving it to the extent where hey, I'm going to plug this in for you. Yeah. We just got it inside the door, got it to where they needed it to be, and then we walked away, right? Gotcha. And so sometimes when you're dealing with projects, you've got to find different carriers. Right. E-carrier check has that solution, right? You got to find different carriers, right? So either way, we're going to show you how we solve this issue. How often would a call go great and then you just get ghosted after the first call? I don't know if he's talking about carriers or shippers.
I would think probably
it's Michael. Shippers. What's up, brother? How are you, man? It's good to see you. Fairly often. This is an interesting question. When it comes to carriers, you're calling carriers and you're trying to find those guys. You got to find the right fit. I'll get into the sales thing here in a second, Michael, just to give you an idea. But from the carrier standpoint, we had to dial it in and find 5 or 6 different companies that made sense for them to be calling. Right. And so can you show us how, for instance, let's just go to, pick a city. It doesn't matter. And just look up, cartage, right?
Yeah, I got you here. Let's do it this way. So there's a couple different ways we can do this. You can find, the advanced lookup. And then I believe what we did here is we did city. We'll just go to Houston.
Houston's my jam.
And then cartage. I believe we did period star. This little hack here. Take notes.
And really what we're looking for, by the way, just to kind of give you an idea of what Nate did, is we went to Houston. right? And we said, hey, out of Houston, I want to find anybody that has a cartage company. A majority of the time, cartage companies are like final mile guys, local guys.
Right.
They usually have a dock, right? You know, these guys are really focused in on their aspect. So we look up the word cartage. Now, Cartagena trucking may not be the right one, but like, look at this. Like, so the DBA benchmark cartage, crane cartage, right? And we can go out to their website and just push the button. Here we go. Look, oh, go back. Look at this.
I gotta make sure I'm sharing that.
Oh, got it. Look at this. Certified warehouse dedicated to provide professional services. Benchmark cartage. We'd have never found benchmark cartage. Shout out to benchmarkcartage.net.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah.
For having that ability. And they have facilities, they have equipment, they do air pickups, deliveries. This is a great final mile company. Now, you know, or at least somebody you should explore having a conversation.
Exactly.
Right?
Yeah.
They got a nice looking website.
Nice.
Go to their facilities.
Check that out.
Look at this. 3 dock high doors. Love that. One with a ramp. That's important, by the way.
Yeah. Security systems, huge.
Yeah, that is, you know, honestly, some of those things, those credit card machines, they were expensive.
Oh, I bet, man.
You know what I mean?
You have to have 24-hour surveillance.
You got to have surveillance, man. You got to have that.
Huge.
And then they got lift gates, 16-foot and 24 trucks. Look at this. This is a great little company to be calling and saying, hey, bro, I got a situation. I need to see if you can help me. Right. And you don't have to start it with bro.
Yeah. I like that. Unless he starts it with bro.
Unless he starts it with bro. What's up, bro?
What's up? So that is honestly, this is probably not, this hack should be used more often, in my opinion.
Yeah.
And like I said, people think that we're just, all you can do is source. But look what we just did. We solved an issue. Right. Yeah. We did a little, adding of, the period star, which is super simple. I mean, we're here to help solve problems.
Yeah. It's definitely, and hopefully, this goes for anybody, right? Hopefully you are looking at your clients trying to find a solution. This guy could have just ran away from this and said, I'm not going to make money on these.
Right.
I'm not dealing with this. Hopefully, right? Yeah. You go, how do I solve this in a logistical sense?
Right.
And we did. Right. Now there's more work to be done. Right. He's going to have to make some calls. He's going to have to negotiate rates. Yep. Right. He's going to have to make sure that they're a legitimate company and do his due diligence. Yep. Right. But I can promise you this, with the nosedive of how many carriers went out of business in the last 6 to 9 months, 6 to 9. Look at this. This was this last week. We just ran this, right? With that nosedive, we're going to get to a situation here where you're going to have to be creative with sourcing carriers, with finding the right partners, with moving the freight at the level of cost that your shipper expects. Right?
And we are already, I can't freaking talk today. We are already experiencing that now. Yeah. We've talked with 2 other companies that literally this week and last week. Yeah. That, hey, they got the opportunity to, bid on some contracts.
Yeah.
And, they got some good feedback from the people that were giving them that feedback, the shipper.
Yeah.
And they were telling them how much they're off. Well, what they were doing was posting on the load board.
Yeah.
In my opinion, they probably weren't going about it the best way. And they found us and they said, okay, we'll pick up the phone. We'll go source carriers that make sense to this.
Yeah.
And start having that conversation.
Yeah.
So with doing this cartage example and trying to find carriers for an RFP or an RFQ.
Yeah.
It's a good way to do it.
Yeah.
On e-carrier check.
Yeah. That's the other nice thing is we can show you by lane.
Yeah.
We can show you companies. Here's the other one that I want to show. And I think this is really interesting. Okay. We had another company that called us this week and said, hey, we've got to find some cartage companies that can help me with that final mile. Right. But I need them to be big enough that can help me with some of these things. Right. So I said, well, let's take a look at this and we can help you. And I thought this was interesting. We went into cartage, right? You've got to be fluid and flexible to survive. Absolutely.
I'm going to keep that up for a bit.
Yeah, absolutely. That's the only way to survive. Sometimes you just have to keep going. Whether it's good or not, you just have to keep going. Right? But we went down here and she had loads out of Houston, loads out of Memphis, loads out of Charleston, all port stuff, or intermodal aspects, right? The Memphis was a switch yard, but we went in and just looked up intermodal, and I think this is really interesting. So just do intermodal located in Houston, okay? All right. All right, 15 pages. All these cats are in Houston, okay? All right, now I want you to just go and do that exact same thing, but I want you to just operating year. Go back. Go operating year. Now we're looking for companies that are in that area that probably have drop yards. Right? I know I'm making you kind of run back and forth here, but take a look at this. Who's doing intermodal?
Arkansas, Florida.
Yeah, now some of these are big old companies. Just go to large and 15 to 50 instead of megas. Let's get away from the megas for a second.
Okay.
Not that I don't love the megas.
Wow, Jared. Just kidding. There we go.
Houston, Channelview, Pasadena. Look at this. Let's see if we can find, a couple people that are not from the Texas market, right? Maybe the megs are the ones that always have the freight in them. They probably do, right?
Way, yeah.
But we're looking for, and you can see all those companies. Those
Florida.
huge. There's, look at this. First Coast. I love this, by the way. First Coast Logistics of Houston, but they're from Florida.
Gosh,
there we go.
Man, that's
you know
awesome.
what I mean? And so we were able to find. There's a Louisiana company right there. Now they're fuel, but you can see we can help you find carriers that may not be from that area, but are working in that area.
Right.
So I think that's really important that you think logistically. How do I make the best of this situation?
And gosh, I feel like this helps on a cold, not in a cold call, just on calls in general.
Yeah.
You're calling that company and you say, hey, I know you're out of Florida. It looks like you get into the Houston market, Houston area, often.
Yep.
I got an opportunity. Interested, right?
Yeah.
So these are great talking points, not only on our carrier side, but also on the shipper side.
Yeah. I did really like the other, we talked to so many different brokers, but the other broker, he's out of Indiana, just got his first client. And he called me the second that he had the opportunity. And he had a van load from Indiana down to friggin' Ohio, or over to Ohio, right? And obviously fairly competitive lane, right? And he goes, hey, I posted this up on DAT. I didn't find anything. He said, I started calling carriers on e-carrier, checking that lane. I found a couple guys, right? And she sent over feedback of the rates before he sent his rate in.
Okay.
He could not get a rate that was even close to what she wanted. She wanted this biscuit moved for $900. Closest he could find was 13. Okay. He called me. He goes, what do you want me to do? I said, well, send her a solution. Give her something.
Right.
Don't just ghost her.
Yep.
Don't just say, I can't do it for that.
Yep.
Go say, hey, you know what? Here's where I'm at. I can find a guy for $1,300. It's the best thing I can do. Mm-hmm. He called me last night. This was my favorite of all of it. He called me last night and he goes, she ended up going with me. And I go, well, how'd that go? And he goes, well, I didn't make any money. He goes, but I gave her a solution and she appreciated that. Yeah. Right? So
I love that.
I think it's really important, right? Yeah. That you take the time to provide a solution. Right. Make the most of every situation. Yeah. Right?
I agree. And it's good. It's a good learning opportunity as well. Hey, what's up? Greetings from Ontario. Shout out to you.
Yeah, what's going on?
What's What's going on over there? Robert?
I love that.
What's up, Robert?
We're still letting you two on here. What's up? I know, right? Honestly, at some point, they're going to be like, these guys need to get it cut off.
This guy will ask some questionable questions. He probably shouldn't be asking.
I know. I did ask the guy last week if he was a feet guy.
I'm waiting for YouTube to email us like, hey, don't be asking.
That's my bad.
We're not kid friendly.
That's my bad. Well, we somewhat are. I just have some.
Oh, from DIY Semi. What's going on?
Yeah, good to have you on.
Thanks
this is the
here.
one guy. Is this the one?
I think you were
an owner-operator guy?
I think so. We're going to make some calls for you.
I think we are, actually. That's our next deal. We're going to make some calls. I think you'll enjoy that. Vince Carey, what is in the house?
What's up, Vince?
This is our boy. This is Triple Double Logistics.
Yes, sir.
Right?
Triple Dub.
This is the cat that's going to own Wisconsin at some point, right?
Yeah. I freaking hope so. Man.
I do too. I love this guy. He's real deal. I love that.
Only Nate's feet. Yeah, Jared better not be cheating on me.
Oh my gosh, only Nate's feet.
Yeah, carrier operator. Yes, I'm that dude. Hell yeah, you are that dude. We'll make it happen.
On a weird side note, can you imagine if Nate actually started showing his feet online?
No one wants to see that. Our channel might get shut down pretty quickly.
My kids call them dogs. I have no idea why. They're
call
like,
their
hey,
feet
your dogs are out, right? And
What the
so
heck?
I'll come walking through with my friggin' hobbit feet because I'm a hairy guy
Freaking
and
dogs
old,
out,
right? And he's
man.
like, Dad, you need to put slippers on those dogs.
Oh my
I'm
gosh.
like, whatever.
I
Kids.
think that's awesome.
Yeah, I'm just setting it out. There, so.
But back to some logistics things here,
Yeah.
and less on feet.
Sorry.
You're good. Let's. One thing I love about our system too is all these people that are making these phone calls. You know, we always talk about double brokering being an issue.
Yeah.
I think once you have more control of you making outbound calls to carriers, your chances of double brokering go tremendously down.
Considerably down.
I mean, you get to pick and choose who you want to call.
Yeah.
You know, we show you the risk factor or the risk radar. Are they, do they have authority? You know, what do the crashes look like within the last year? Are these guys safe enough to be hauling this load?
Right.
Should I call them?
Right.
And you get that ability to pick who you want to call here.
Yeah. Which is awesome. I also think, and just for the sake of it, for anybody watching, thank you for being on. We offer this free as well, right?
Yeah.
Our risk radar is free. Cindy, what's up? Cindy and I used to work at Nebraska Transport together back in the day.
And go check out Logistics Lounge. Robert, we'll talk to you later.
Yeah.
So you and Cynthia.
Yeah.
Together.
Cindy and I worked together. Yeah. She went by Cindy at that time. I don't know if she still does. Either way.
Sure. Thanks for being here.
But
Nice to meet you.
I definitely think that we want to fight double brokering more than anybody. We see
Right.
some crazy trends. We're constantly looking at our risk radar. This isn't a set it and forget it situation, right? This is we need to be adapting our risk radar for the industry. That's why it's free. Go out on ecarriercheck.com, look up any carrier that you want to. How safe is Tire Killer Transportation? Brother, we've looked you up. You're a low risk guy. You are wonderful to hire. Great dude. Big fan of you.
Mm-hmm.
We can look you up though if you want. We can put you up on there.
More of the monitoring aspect of it. If you guys do transition to eCarrier Check, you can upload, the MCs that you have currently that you're working with, and you can monitor them. And then essentially what happens is you get an email from monitoring@info.ecarriercheck.com. And
it's usually in your spam.
But it's now going to my inbox because I actually added that email as a contact.
I did too, yep.
So now it's going straight to my inbox, and all the carriers that I monitor, I'm not a broker, but I like to monitor carriers.
Yeah.
And I'm getting emails daily.
Yeah.
So it's nice to have. It's there. You can do a lot of things in eCarrier Check that you probably wouldn't think you need.
The daily monitoring, it was interesting. We were talking to a fairly large brokerage yesterday, had a great conversation with them, and just, wanted to give a little bit of value to them and said, hey, if you can, just take all of your carriers that you've been working with. Let's throw them through, the washboard here,
right,
aka eCarrier Check. And you can do that real quick. It's fairly simple. You just go into my carrier list, and there's an import export button, and away we go. Right?
Exactly.
There it is. Import export, and you can just put it in there and find those carriers that way. So operationally speaking, honestly, I don't it's hard to beat our sourcing platform.
I agree.
Yesterday, I'll give you another example of something that we did from our carrier mix. We had a guy that uses our software fairly often. Shout out to Gunner. Interesting dude. Been a broker for about a year.
Yeah.
Very aggressive on the phone. Amazing hair.
The guy can hammer some wings.
Yeah, he's a wing guy. It's kind of awkward, actually. And sometimes, I don't know if Robert's into this, sometimes you just have to do some smelling salts.
Oh my God, I forgot about that. We walked into the brokerage and they're doing smelling salts before sales calls. I'm like, whatever works.
You got to do what you got to do. Smelling salts are real. Who needs Zen when you have smelling salts? But anyway, he was looking for hazmat tanker guys, a multi-compartment tanker guy. Pulled the list out of our system from tankers, did some emailing. 35 minutes later, he had a hazmat multi-tanker guy on the hook to go haul a load for him of some of the weird stuff that he hauls. He's a big hazmat guy. Either way, operationally speaking, as this curve starts to happen and carriers are harder to find, right? eCarrier Check should be able to help you with 100%. Finding those things. As that's the other thing. Not only rates change. Here's what I've noticed is that not only do the rates change, but people's shippers networks start to change. Maybe people order things differently, right? Or maybe their expectations of how you get it there are different. Heaven forbid you go find a truck and find a crane, right? We can help you find cranes, right? You don't have to get on Google. Just push crane in the city you're going to. Yeah. They all have DOTs, I promise you, yeah. Right? Yeah. So something to kick around. You can look up, words in here: cartage, crane, a heavy haul. Maybe I'm looking for that guy that has 13 axles, right? Just look up the word heavy in that city. Right. You'll find somebody, I promise. Mm-hmm. Right? So
it's really a choose your own adventure at this point, right? And how can we help you? You got to think outside of the box a little bit too, as well. If you're needing a cartage company, well, who would have thought of looking up cartage as a name?
Right.
Not many people probably would have.
Right.
Now you're going to think about it. So same with like finding a shipper. Maybe you want to take over the pipe industry or produce.
Right.
Search it by a name.
Here you go.
Let's go see what we got. So
yeah, something real quick for WCF Invader.
Yeah.
I don't know what that means, but I love it. I don't know what are you invading? Because I'm super into that. Like for some odd reason, for me, it reminds me of a video game.
That's kind of what
I used to play this video game, and it was like this crazy. Like I'm like building walls, trying to like defeat like the mongers. It was nuts. But as we transition over to shippers real quick here. Something that's interesting, and let's talk Tire Killer, let's talk WC Invader, let's talk about those cats that are out there that are small, 1 truck, 2 trucks. How do you find direct shippers, right? How do you find those shippers that are willing to work with smaller carriers, right? That's a needle in a haystack, by the way. Eddie Carrier Check, and I don't remember what WC Invader is. If he's still on, maybe give us some love and tell us what kind of equipment you have. Yeah. Let's just say Houston and Dry-Vans, okay? If I want to find shippers that are working with small companies, I can just click into right here, small, owner-operator. And now you know what this conversation sounds like? This conversation sounds a little bit different. I'm calling this company and I'm saying, hey, this is WC Invader. I run vans out of Houston. I'm there every Thursday, Friday, and Saturday. And I would love to Invader.
That's
used to be the wrestler.
Awesome.
Oh my gosh. This is the WWF. You and me must be the same age here. WWF is so good. Wrestling, video games. He was invading wrestling, 1 truck, 1 trailer, air ride, drive van. Exactly. So by the way, I used to love when they changed from, I'll be honest with you. I got to give you just a quick background on WWF.
I can't wait to hear this.
I was not only the kid that was taking a pillow and tackling it into my couch, right? You take a pillow and you're tackling it in there. I used to have, a couple dolls, a couple of wrestling dolls. Like I had Hulk as a doll, right? He's like this big, and I'd tackle him into the friggin', doing like elbows. Yeah. But when they changed it from WWF to WWE, right? Isn't that what they changed it to?
Yep.
A little bit of me died.
It's fair.
It was heartbreaking for me. I loved wrestling when I was growing up. In fact, my kids and I, Friday nights, we're getting after it. Yeah. I love Friday Night SmackDown. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
I can't get enough of it.
That's
me and the kids, and I don't really do it anymore because I think it may hurt my back, maybe my knees. We're tackling on the couch. You know what I mean? I got a huge marshmallow thing that we bought. We found it on Amazon, and it's probably just the same size as this thing. And we can jump onto it, and it's just humongous. It's nice. So much fun.
A big bean bag,
just a big bean bag, and the kids we're just slamming. Awesome. So I love that he's there. But right here, now we're having these conversations with going, okay, let's call these guys. Let's give them an understanding of what we're looking for, right, and how we can benefit. And here are some of those tips. I'll give you a few tips here, okay? And we're going to make these calls, by the way, on the DIY's YouTube page. We need to know the network that works for you. You're Missouri-based, but you don't want to go everywhere. What works and what doesn't, right? We need to be selective. Always know what works best for you. You know what I mean? If you like the triangle of going to Nebraska and Illinois and Indiana and then back into Missouri, and that's kind of Tire Killer. Tire Killer's nut is, Arkansas up to, Chicago, and he's doing steel coils. WC Invader and Tire Killer should get together at a truck stop and smash out a friggin' show for us. Saturday night in the Sporter in Dallas with the Von Erichs and Kabuki. Oh my
On Eric
gosh.
and Caboose.
Woo! See, this is what I'm talking about. Oh my
love
gosh,
that.
you kill me. But these conversations that we can have, right, with shippers, these shippers, we know for a fact because of how our data works, we know that they're using smaller carriers, right? Now, the value add is where are you at? When are you there? Because as a small carrier, you're never in the right place at the right time. You always have the wrong equipment. They're like, oh, you got flatbeds? No, I got vans, right? So, like Tire Killer, he's got a step deck. You got a flatbed? No. There's always an equipment or a day.
Right.
There's always those issues, right? Tire Killer probably gets, well, you got 48-foot step deck? I was looking for a 53. There's always something stupid, right? We don't work with broker carriers. We work with brokers. You just have to be prepared to answer those issues. And then we have to be prepared to talk about our network and what works best for us. Mm-hmm. Just because we want a direct shipper doesn't mean you have to take everything they got. I sure as hell don't want to send you to, Idaho. If you don't like, go to Idaho. Let's be picky, choosy. It's your business too. You have to find mutual ground, right?
Right. Now, just to kind of pick your brain a little bit, because you guys are probably looking at the hiring index. And if I was an owner-op looking at hiring index, am I calling those hiring index companies? Or am I going to come on here and sort by hiring index and go to the last page and start with lower hiring index?
Yeah, I'm going to zero right away, and I'm going to medium to small companies.
Okay.
And for me, I think it's really important that you start off with, not necessarily at the gatekeeper level, and you could do it at the gatekeeper level, but right when you make these calls, you're saying, hey, this is Tire Killer. I'm from Blytheville, Arkansas. I don't know if that's right. I don't know if he's from Blytheville. I don't know. I'm just, I just wanted to say Blytheville.
That's fair.
I used to work with a Blythe, different kind of gal, really nice, good at operations.
Love it.
Just challenging.
Just named a town after it, so I love it.
But you're going after 0% because on eCarrier Check, when you're at that 0%, they care about carrier relationships more than broker relationships.
Okay.
Right? If you're on our site and you're a broker, go to the higher level. If you're on our site and you're a carrier, go to the lower level. Yep. We want to show you their hiring patterns and what works for them. Right? So in some particular cases, shippers just like to work with brokers. Yep. In some particular cases, shippers like to work with carriers direct. Right. Now we need to explore all those conversations and find somebody that works.
And let's say that situation does come up. Yeah, we'd rather work with brokers. Well, guess what? Why not go find a broker in Missouri and say, hey, can we chat through this? They got an opportunity. Hopefully they can help both of us, right?
Yeah.
Maybe get that broker on board.
I got to tell you, the king of small carriers, this guy named Monty, this guy was incredible, right? And he had direct shippers in his hometown, okay, where he wasn't deadheading out of his hometown to go get some freight, right? Which is kind of convenient.
Oh, yeah.
Right? So we need to find something within 50 to 75 miles to get you loaded, okay? And then he would have direct shippers in his little bow tie, right? In his little triangle of where he wanted to work. And then he would also have brokers that would work. And so his list, every week he'd communicate, hey, I'm going to be in these states and these days. Mm-hmm. So then he's communicating to the direct shippers and they're like, oh, Tire Killer's here on Thursday. I'm going to give him a load. Right. He likes to go to Indiana or he likes to go to Arkansas. I need to get him home. So, even though we can Fort Smith, but close enough, that's fair. I can live with that. Even though we can probably get you a guy to work with you, WC Invader, I think it's really important to remember that we need to have 2 or 3 good potential points of contact at each location. Okay. Whether there be a direct broker, a broker you didn't find off load boards, which you can find on eCarrier Check, or a direct shipper. And then last case scenario, you go to the load boards. Right? So that's what our goal is when we make those calls. Yeah. So we'll get more detail on his network and those things. We'll keep you posted when we do those calls, and really try to help him out. So
for sure, that's good stuff today, man. Really good stuff. Jared, that's kind of all I had on my plate today, as far as us, providing solutions for the people out there on the site. There's not a lot of sites out there, Jared, and maybe I'm just me being me, but You can run as many searches as you want on the system.
Yeah.
We're month to month, no contracts,
Right.
right? We hope that you find value within the first
Yeah.
few weeks, and I'll back that up. You can. I've heard of many people doing it, and but not many places you can go and get some tech for a cheap price, month to month, and grow your company.
Yeah,
you know what I mean?
absolutely.
So, and if you call us, you need help, you're talking to us.
Yeah,
You're not if I put you on hold, it's because I got other calls, but you're not going to be put on hold. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Email us. We're here.
We're here to help you grow.
So,
everybody wants to win.
Exactly.
We want to help you win.
Exactly. Jerry, anything you'd like to say to maybe end this conversation today? I really appreciate your time and your insights on this industry. Here we go.
Oh, nice. Here we go. And I intend on running the loads. I love that. See,
Nice.
This is a great conversation.
Yeah.
Right. If this cat can win and you can win, sign me up.
That's awesome.
Right. That's a win. Right. That's a good win.
I agree.
So I love that.
That's awesome.
Now, I know Friday we're going to talk more about sales.
Yep.
We're going to talk about some of the things that we've seen. E-Carrier checks the bomb. Thanks, we appreciate the shout out. But Saturday or Friday we'll be talking on sales. Michael, I know you had a question in regards to getting ghosted or not. We're going to address that on Friday as well. So pop back in here, and we appreciate you being on, guys. This was a lot of fun to talk with everybody. And thanks for being on.